Pastor Roy Gerhardt from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. Envy or inspiration, which is it? There's a huge difference between looking at somebody else and being envious and being inspired. Sometimes we look at other people and we see something about them that we feel like it's missing in our life. And sometimes we go to the place of envy, that it's like, oh man, I could use some of that. We're looking at them and saying, man, their good looks, their athleticism, their finances, they've got their act together. They seem to have the intelligence, the discernment. It seems like they have the Midas touch, whatever it is. We're looking at them and saying, man, I could get me some of that. It's like, how do I get their life? And that's a place where sometimes it's just simple envy. And when you get into that place where you envy somebody else, all that you're seeing is their strengths. All you're seeing is where they seem to have something that you don't, and you want to be able to get that element in your life. But you got to recognize that when you're wanting their life, that you got to take their weaknesses right along with their strengths. And we've all come to realize that at some point or another, someone that we thought on the surface looked like they had it all, behind the scenes had a whole lot going on. Many times have backgrounds with all kinds of pain and struggle that they've gone through to arrive at the place where they are. Many of them are really struggling internally, deeply, with all sorts of different problems. And we don't always see that on the surface. And so that when we're looking at their life and get caught up with that sense of envy, that I want to be just like them, I want what they got, we got to realize if you want their life, you want their strengths, you got to take the weaknesses along with it. When we look at Samson, that's absolutely true. You know, Samson is a man with superhuman strength, can take on an army in battle, seems to have this winning qualities in so many areas of life, and yet you don't want to be Samson. Let me just say it, man, you do not want to be Samson. Samson is a man who is plagued with an impulsive, reckless heart. He's a man who is driven with compulsion. He wants what he wants when he wants it, and he demands it. And when things go sideways, he flies into a fury. He is a man with this out of control kind of rage that will explode. And so that, I gotta say, again, you don't want to be Samson. Don't be so caught up in seeing his strengths and saying, man, I want to be like Samson, that you miss the other side of it, the weakness that is absolutely there. You and I can be inspired, though, when we engage with other people. And that's a whole different kind of attitude and response. You know, when I get together with a group of guys every week, we share with each other the stories of our life from that week. We'll talk about both those victory circle moments in our life and some of the real struggles of our life. And so that as we do that, we get to see each other at our best moments. And when we do that, we could go to a place where we just get envious and say, man, I just want to be like this other guy. I want that. But we get inspired. We get inspired by each other, because what we see with each other is, here's a guy who sets the bar high when it comes to loving his spouse. Here's a guy who shows the high bar of integrity and honesty. Here's a guy who raises the bar for all of us in terms of sharing his faith, acting out as a witness of Jesus. And this begins to produce an inspiration that says, God, I want to have that in my life. It's not just about, I want his life. It's like we see the high bar. And now we've got that inspiration to say, God, I'm going for that goal in my life. Now I see the target that I'm pursuing with my life. And at the same time, we sometimes really share our weaknesses, and we see each other in those low places in our lives where we struggle with fear, anxiety, with sin, with anger, with all kinds of issues in our life. And in that, sometimes we see the strengths that God has already given us. And we see the strengths that we need God to give us. And we begin to be directed towards seeking after God for those strengths. And my prayer this week, as we've looked at Samson, is, God, make us stronger than Samson, able to not just have feats of muscular strength, but to be able to live in the strength of Christ, to live our lives for Him. May God bless you, and as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever He takes you.